Hello, everybody. This is Michael Savage. This is an interesting time of deception. In essence, I'm an American dissident. I began the podcast you're going to hear tomorrow last week before the Presidio scandal struck me, reading from quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong from the Little Red Book. And the question was going to be, how far has or have the communists come in America? You'll be shocked to find out how far the communists have come in America. Do we have re-education camps? In a way, yes. They're called diversity training. They're called advertising on television and radio, which is hot brainwashing around the clock. We have complete denial as to who's conducting most of the violence in America. We hear about the horrible attacks upon Jews, and they don't say it's Arabs. We hear about the horrible attacks upon Asians for months on end, and they don't say it's largely African American males. They lead you to believe it's white nationalists. How's that for a re-education camp? They don't need to put you in a camp to re-educate you. All they need to do is put your child into a classroom today and have some goon tell your child she's evil because she's white. You don't need a re-education camp when you have the lowest scum of the earth putting out ads on television which distort reality around the clock. So I was reading quotations from Chairman Mao, which you'll hear in detail on my podcast tomorrow. And then suddenly I was struck by a scandal of my own kind, which is eerily similar to that of the purges under Mao Zedong. And that is, there are 3 Trump appointees on the Presidio Trust. I'm the only one who was purged by the Biden administration last week. Why was I purged and not the other Trump appointees? Now, I'm the only one with any background whatsoever in environmental issues. Never forget that. I'm not putting them down. They're good people, but they're not there because they know anything about the environment. They don't. I do. So what happened is I suggested new exhibits in the Officers Club. A day before this all happened to me, I proposed God and the Soldier at the Presidio, Faith in the Army over 2 centuries, that includes the Spanish and Mexican eras. Prior to that, I had proposed several new military heritage exhibits, none of which are at all inflammatory. They're all rather benign. I asked repeatedly from the management of the Presidio to give me the approximate cost to install exhibits, and they would not answer me. And in fact, after they took me off the board, as you will find out on the podcast, they expunged the minutes of my emails asking them to tell me what it would cost to install these exhibits, because I had told them I have likely secured $2.5 million in funding. Now, this is from a group that fired many people because they were broke, went through the pandemic, no income, screaming about money. Here you have a board member who says, I have $2.5 million likely to be able to bring to you. Help me with this. And instead, they fired me. You know why? Because they don't want the military heritage of the Presidio installed at the Presidio Officers Club. Why? Because this is a Eurocentric, anti-American, anti-military, anti-family, anti-God, anti-male, anti-white person administration. I cannot emphasize how important my being on the board and how important it is to the citizens personally. Remember, I have over 40 years working on conservation and environmental issues. The Presidio lands are a public trust that must be cared for by ardent conservationists and preservationists, not by political hacks of the type Biden will install. You'll hear more about it tomorrow on the Michael Savage podcast. And remember what it's about. It will be the Presidio Trust scandal plus Mao Zedong, the mass murderer. How far have the communists come in America? I hope you got a chance not only to listen to that podcast, but to share it with as many people who are interested in saving themselves, their family, and the nation from what is going on today. Thank you for listening.